Hi everyone, I've come on today because I want to talk about something that an individual brought up at one of my most recent workshops on stress and stress management. And it's basically the frustration that they were feeling about the fact that teams or two teams silo into these separate methods of being able to work, and how frustrating this can be when they seemingly don't work well together. Now, I don't know if you've got this problem or if you've ever come across it, but two individuals can also struggle to do this. Effectively, a silo is the expression or the process for when the two of them break apart, so they cease to work particularly well together and they function almost entirely separately, even though they can be departments which should link together, for example, sales and marketing. But if it is having a problematic impact, then it's quite important to work out why. Now, one of the reasons why could be nothing more than habit. In other words, if a leader actually had a difficulty with another leader, even if that leader is now exited, there can be a problem amongst the team because simply out of habit, they don't communicate well together. So whilst habit is not easy, it is quite quick to rectify simply because you get them together and you start them talking. So what's actually happening? Has there been some sort of slight, some sort of breakdown in communication? Is there a misunderstanding? Have two people, the functioning heads, or two teams cease to liaise well together? And then perhaps go back to a blank page and start from scratch. And number one would be, okay, let's build better rapport. Let's make sure that we get the functional heads together, or even the whole teams, and get them to talk together more frequently. An open event, a short team briefing, a cup of tea and a cake, really, it doesn't matter. But if you get them together so that they're better able to chat together and build a better rapport, that's one of the places to start. Now, that actually means you come back to the frequency with which they are communicating, and especially if they don't understand what the other department actually does. So the second tip would be get the two departments together to better understand or communicate how they could improve this. It doesn't necessarily have to be as formulaic as, okay, this is not working well, what are you going to do about it? But it might be as simple as, I need you, both departments, to recognise how important you are, how you function together, and I want you to be able to discuss this in open forum so that we can see how the threads of what you each do impacts the other. Now, one tip might mean, therefore, that you open or use a piece of software that's designed for teams, for example, Slack comes to mind, so that they can actually see transactions and movement of information around. Now, the third thing would be to give them a common project. Set them something wherein they're actually going to need to work together, and that can encourage greater communication, greater interdependence, if you like. The fourth would be, once a project is complete, as you do the wash-up, which is that term for meaning check-in, what went well, what didn't go well, open feedback and open communication during project feedback at the end is really quite useful as well, so as to make sure that you could say, okay, what went really well, even better if. And I think whilst you encourage some sort of rapport between them, it's also really important, if you are the leader, for example, listening to this, that you get them together as frequently as possible, if only at functional head, so that they can listen to each other, be completely respectful with each other, and set up appropriate kind of boundaries between them so that they can consider each other better. Sometimes this just breaks down because the one doesn't like the other, and to be honest, that one is always going to be a source of frustration. There is no perfect answer for that. I think some of it is getting them to recognise, look, we're a small department, team, company, whatever it is. I need you to get on well. I need you to work better together, more open communication, better meeting structures, frequency with which we meet, and having an input and valuing the input is all a courtesy, a value system, and something I want the business to have. And that really sets your stamp and your mark on it as well. So siloed parts of the business aren't easy, but you can do something, and I hope these tips have helped. Bye for now.